going to start recording this just so in case we have anybody else that wants to join us. Mike, is that you? I think you're muted over there. Mike Yeager. Yeah, I see Mike Yeager.
Good morning.
Hey, Mike. All right, so we've got everybody here that asked for an invite, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you want to mute your microphones now, that's fine, and then just unmute them if you have any questions. So the dilemma that we're facing is that I'm going to go to the scanner pictures of the scanner programs. The old scanners, you can see on the screen here, the old scanners are the MC32s, and they were running Windows CE and Windows Mobile. And then in some cases, you guys are using DataLogic Scorpios. They're also running Windows Mobile or Windows CE. A couple years ago, Microsoft deprecated Windows CE and Windows Mobile, and so the manufacturers quit manufacturing scanners with Windows CE in them. So we can't get parts anymore, and we can't get that operating system anymore. And everybody switched over to Android. And so we started a couple years ago, and we put a lot of effort and time and money into converting our software over to run under Android. And there's many advantages to you as well as to us in using them. And so you see here a line of scanners on the screen, and on the left is the MC32N0. They make a 32N0 that runs Android. So they do make one that runs Android. It's a little bit kludgy. It's not a real smooth implementation because it was retrofitted with Windows CE to run Android. So that's available. It uses the same cradles as the current CE version. So you can get those in Android, and they will they'll pop right into the same charging cradles. They use the same batteries and everything. So that's one advantage of these. But again, the screens are a little bit kludgy, and you have to tap them rather with the stylus rather than have these newer screens are sensitive to your finger touch because they use warmth, I think, to detect where you've tapped. So that's a little bit different. It's old school still, but that's an option. We don't have many of those in stock because we've invested in these newer versions. The other thing is that Wavelink, the company that we used to run Studio, they quit selling licenses for CE and for mobile. So not only can we not get the hardware, but we can't get any longer. We can't get Wavelink licenses to run. We do have a pool of licenses that we bought before they discontinued selling them that we can sell, but we don't like to do that. Anyway, so we're talking about the future here, and we want to move into the Android scanners. The Android scanners are much nicer. The one just to the right of this is called the MC330. I have one here. I'll show you. It's very nice. It does have a physical keyboard, and when you turn it on, let me get this turned on. And I did a demo earlier this morning for one of our other order management systems, and so their session was running here. But this is the screen. It's an Android screen, and when it comes up, there'd be a little session here that says Warehouse Manager with a Barcoders icon on it. I can tap that, and it'll run our application that we've converted over to Android. The nice thing is that now these two scanners here on the right, they don't have a physical keyboard. They have a pop-up keyboard, which a lot of the newer generation is used to because they use these Android phones and they can really go to town on these because there's no physical keyboard. They're used to that. And so the newer employees, the younger employees really like that because they're used to that with their Android or their iOS phone. The nice thing about that is I can now plug it in via a cable, and I can run an emulator on the screen so you can actually see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start that, and you can now see on the screen what it looks like. So let me pull that up. And there's what the actual scanner looks like. So you can see that it's much bigger than the MC32. Well, can you hand me that MC32 you got? You can see that the screen is much bigger than the MC32, and so you have a lot more, a lot easier to see. So the screen's much bigger. There you go. Thank you. I'm going to tap on the warehouse. So this is what you'd see with our software. So now this is the menu that you'll see. You can now scroll through the menu. It's very nice to use. I want to do lookup in Stone Edge, so I tap lookup, and it's going to bring up the lookup application, just the one that you're used to. So I'm going to look up test SKU that we have in here. So when you type lookup, that's what shows on the screen, and it's a lot bigger, as you can see, and easier to read. So an old guy like me, I turned 71 the beginning of this week. It's easier for me to see. How do you get a keyboard? Well, if you just quick tap on the screen, it brings up a keyboard, and you can then go to tap at the bottom. You can tap down here and go to a number keyboard, an alphanumeric keyboard. You can go to the function keys. You can go to the special keys. It's all right here. So if you needed to type something in, you could. But obviously, because it's a lot of what we do is based on scanners, you don't need to scan it any longer. So I'm just doing lookup, and you guys are familiar with lookup. So I'm just looking up. If there were more than 4 locations, there would be a K down here, which means there's more than 4 locations, and you can tab through the locations by typing K. It'll page through the locations. And let's see. So there's a couple of other things here. If I long tap on the top here, if I go up here to the top and I long tap on it, meaning hold my finger there, it brings up our window. And if I type on Warehouse Manager, it tells me here that this is version 1.6.1.3, and it was compiled on 2003 9/29. So that's the version. So Android uses what they call an APK, and it's a program that runs on the screen. The APK is that version. You can download the APK directly from our website by just scanning a barcode in Chrome or Chromium on the scanner, and it'll download the latest version. You can also configure your Wi-Fi and your RF server much easier than you could with the old one. If you remember, I think Nwild bought some scanners a couple of years ago. They had to divulge to us what their Wi-Fi password was and encryption key, so we could actually program the radio before we sent it out. That was a pain, and it could be, if depending on how you feel about security, it could be an issue with security, and so some people may not want to do that. Can you ask her to postpone it till after? Anyway, so let me get back to here. So with these new scanners, you can configure the Wi-Fi and the encryption key and everything just real easily without having to have us do it for you. So those are some advantages here. Number one, they're still available. We can get them, and there's a whole wide selection. So as I showed you in the picture before, there's ones with a keyboard, one without a keyboard. We have several that are keyboardless, and this one is a cheap, inexpensive version of it. This one is the one that you have the best probability of success with your warehouse staff. So let me cover a couple of the other, oh, by the way, we changed the Stone Edge software now, so instead of typing 999, you can type XXX anytime there's a 999. So we have a numeric version of this with the new Android, so you can exit without having to switch from this keyboard to the other one. So if I just type XXX and hit enter, then it does the same thing as typing 999. You can do both, but you don't have to now go to the keyboard, find the numeric, type in 999 and hit enter. We're working on just hitting the back arrow in Android, and that'll take you back, and we'll probably have a release shortly that does that as well. So this was Lookup. The advantages that I've mentioned so far: it's easy to configure and to change. You can, if you change your RF server, you can actually, or the IP address of your RF server, you get a new ISP or something like that. You can now change it without having us do it. And they're faster and easier to use. The CPU is a lot faster, bigger memory, so they work a lot faster. The radio is a newer version of the radio, so that the radio communication is faster. So overall, the response is faster. You can get them with or without keyboard. It has a much bigger screen, as you see here. But let me show you what the real cool thing is. When you long tap on here and you go into here, there's a wrench over here on the side, or depending on what version of Android you're running. We now have the ability to turn a voice on and to display pop-up images of the product. So you can turn on the voice, and the voice will now speak back the pick location, so that as you're scanning an item and you've picked that item, and the next item tells you in voice, not only shows on the screen, but it speaks the location, so that the users can scan, and then they can walk to the new location because it will speak the location. So it also will support what they have as a USB Bluetooth earpiece, and so you can put these on, and it will speak into the ear instead of you can see now that there's a Bluetooth icon right here, so it will speak and it'll come out in my ear rather than broadcast in the warehouse. And you can imagine, if you've got 20 or 30 scanners and they're all speaking at the same time, there can be some confusion. So you can turn on the voice. I'll show you that in a minute, or you can turn it off. Trouble with this. Get this off my ear. You can even adjust the reading speed. So you can choose the voice if you want male or female. You can adjust the reading speed. You can silence the pick location, so it doesn't speak that if you don't want it to. Because there's other things that it will speak as well. And then the display, you can have pop-up images of that. So I'm going to tap and get out of this. And so I've got those turned on. So I'm going to go into pick, and I'm going to show you how those work. So I'm going to scan my employee ID badge. And now I'm going to scan a reference number. And it tells me that this one's already picked. I picked it just a few days ago as demoing. So I'm going to type go, and I'm going to pick this again.
36C35.
You can hear it. It takes the first pick location, because there's multiple locations in Stone Edge. It takes the first one and will speak it. And if you miss it, you can do a quick pull on the trigger and it will repeat it.
36C35.
So you can see that it speaks the location, so they don't have to look down at the screen when they're walking around the warehouse. They can go like this,
36C35.
and it'll take them to that location. So they go to that location, and I'm gonna scan the location, and so you heard it say pick 3. So I can turn off the location and it won't speak the location, but it'll still pop up the image of what needs a bag of buttons, and it'll tell me exactly how many to pick. It said pick 3. So I've scanned the first one. where is it here? And now I told it to only do the reaction at the end of picking. So it went from 3 to 2, and now I'm going to pick it again to 1.
43 B 17.
So it should have said 43 BB1.
43 B 17.
There's the location. So I go to that location. I pick it.
43 B 17.
And it popped up an image of what I should be picking, and I'm going to pick one of them.
55 E 5 8.
Tells me to go to that location. I'm going to go to that location.
55 E 5 8. 55 E 5 8. 55 E 5 8.
And there's a picture of what I need to pick. And I'm going to pick one of it.
67 D 4 11. Pick 2.
Pick the wrong item, scan the wrong item. So now that I've scanned it, I'm back to the screen, and you can see that there's a little bit of color change here. The name is in purple instead of in just black and white. So those are the biggest changes that we've made. You can see that it's faster, displays all that. It will speak the location, and they're available. All right, so I'm back here. You can load other applications on here if you want. We have, like I said, we have one customer that loaded Spotify on there, and they play music. There's a whole bunch of settings you can adjust, and we do have some customers that are buying their own devices. As long as it's Android version 5.1.1 or above, you should be able to just scan that barcode and download the latest version. So let me show you how to do that. If you long tap on this and then you drag it up to the uninstall, it uninstalls the app, and I say okay. So now it's going to uninstall it, so it's gone. So even if I go into the applications down here, you'll see that it's not there anymore. So how do I download it? Well, you go into the applications and you go into Chrome, and we can give you this QR code, and what it does is just you scan it, and it will download the latest APK. So if I hit enter, it says it's already in the download because I just downloaded it. And so this one's going to be called release.1. I'm going to download it. So now it's downloading the file right from our website, the latest version. I'm going to open it, install. And now I'm going to open the application. And there it is. There's the application. And so now if I tap on this, I go into Lookup. I tap on the version. You see this one is a little bit, I think this is the last version I updated for StoneEdge but that's how you would load the application. So if you went out and got your own devices, for example, on the open market, and you wanted to download our application, that's all you'd have to do. All right. So what was the other thing I wanted? Oh, so when you go into from the menu, okay, from this this menu right here will come up initially, and it tries to go to the IP address of our RF server, 192.168.1.70. So in your case, you'd have to program it to go to the RF server IP address for your location. So how do you do that? Well, you launch a web browser and you go to barcoders.com and you type in /make server barcode.php, I think it is. No, that's not it. Make server barcode. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, that's what I put. Make barcoders.com/make server barcode .php. All right, there we go. There we got it. So you type in that magic combination, and the server IP would be here. So if yours is a 10 dot, so it'd be 10.10.10.1, and you generate it. And what it does is it generates a barcode that you would scan, and you download the barcode into something like, you know, this, and then you'd print it. You just print it using Notepad or whatever printer you have. And then from then on, when you're in this, when you bring up your scanners and it goes to this screen right here, the timeout I got set to pretty low. It generates a barcode that looks like this, and you would scan it. This is the wrong one, and now it'll try that one. So it's trying to connect to that one, which is the wrong one for us. Yours will say 192.168.1.70, and so you would generate that barcode, and you only have to do this one time per gun once you've programmed it, and you scan the right one, and then it knows the IP address of your RF server, and it memorizes it, and you won't have to scan it again. So that's how you configure a newer gun, or if it's lost the program and you have to download it again, that's how you configure it for the RF server that you're gonna use. So again, these are the programs that are on my menu. These are the ones that the different levels that you subscribe to. And so your menu would change depending on the version that you're using. So it's a little bit different. It's easier to use, in my opinion, than the old CE one. The screens are bigger, not as tiny. You use your finger to touch with. Remember, let me see if I covered all of the advantages. Lots of choices, bigger screen, without keyboard, faster. You got voice and skew images. It's got a high definition screen, and then the Bluetooth earbuds that you can use for personalization of the scanner. So the question becomes, okay, well, how much is this going to cost me, right? So if you go to our website for existing customers, we put about $150,000 or more into development of this, and so we're trying to get back our money. So for existing customers, what we're doing is, for every license that you currently have, so if you've got a 4 licenses to use Studio, for example, you can convert those 4 licenses to Android for $5 a month more is all. We're just going to charge you $5 a month more. So if you're now paying $200 and you convert 1 license, you'll pay $205, and that's once you've bought the Android gun. So now you'll have an Android license to use. You'll have a license to use 1 Android scanner, and so on. Once you've exceeded your 4, then it's going to be the same price as if you were adding another scanner. So that'll be whatever's on our website. I think it's $40 a month for to add additional licenses for that. So for a one-time offer, and as I say, this is the low-end scanner. The problem with this scanner, these newer scanners, you can I'm going to unplug this, so this screen's going to go away, but you can plug right into, there's a cradle, a single cradle with what they call a toaster, so you can have a second battery running at the same time, charging at the same time. And if this one seems to discharge, what you can do is you can pop the grip off of it, and you have access to the battery right here. You can pop the battery out, and you can put it in the toaster and take the other battery out and pop it in here, and then put the grip back on real quick, and you're back in business. Or you can have what they call a 4-slot toaster. It looks like just like a toaster, and you have batteries stuck in there. There's 4 of them in a square, and those are charging. So you could have 4 scanners with 4 batteries running in the warehouse, and as the batteries deplete, they seem to last all day. But should you guys use it and the batteries start to wear out, you can swap the battery out. There's a swap function in the scanner where I'll start it up again. So if I go in here and I hold the button down, I'm going to clear out all the apps that are running. If I hold the button down, you notice that there's a battery swap, a power off, and a restart. So if I type battery swap, there's a process you go through. It says, do not remove the device until the red light turns off. Do not remove the SD card. Do not attach device accessories. Replace the battery with 1 minute. So within 1 minute, so I'm going to go ahead and hit I understand. USB charger is connected, so it won't let me do that. So I'm going to, now your rendering will go away. So I hit I understand the process. The red light is here. As long as the red light is on, I don't swipe it out, so I have to wait. Now the red light's off. I can take the grip off. I pop the battery out. I put a newly charged one in. I put the grip back in within 1 minute, and I turn it back on again. If I turn it back on again, then it comes back up, and it should go right back into the operating system without having lost where you were at. So that was the whole purpose of doing that. So there's a quick battery swap for that. This is the cheaper one. This is what we call an MC40 N0, and this was designed to be used in the healthcare industry. So it was designed to be just carried around. Nurses and doctors would carry this around. They scan the barcode wristband of patients, so when they're putting drugs in there, they can track the drug. They can scan the drug and then scan the patient, and it records the time and who the nurse was and that kind of thing. So these were designed for the healthcare industry, and you can use them just like this. And they can plug into a USB charger, and they can charge. And there's also the toasters you can get for these batteries as well. And so somebody in Germany, they created a grip that straps on, and what it does is it just when you pull this trigger, it physically pushes the button on the side that you would normally push if you were using it with your thumb and you're right-handed, or your index finger if you're left-handed. And so it comes on, and unfortunately this one I can't render onto the screen, but you can see that it's a much bigger. If I go into the warehouse, you see that the screen on this is much bigger than the smaller MC32 that you've been using. So there's lots of advantages to this. These are much smaller. So what I was going to say was, if you just want to test it, then what happens is, for those of you that have been customers for a long time, which you all qualify for, If you just want to test one of them, we'll charge you $5 a month for the additional for the moving from a studio license to the Android license, but we'll give you one scanner for free. We'll give you one of these MC40 scanners for free for testing, and we'll install the Android connector onto your RF server, and then you can use these scanners side by side with your old Windows CE ones. They don't go away. They run side by side. So you'd have one Android scanner that can run, and it works exactly like your other one, but just has all the advantages I've just shown you. So for $5 a month, this is a one-time offer per customer. We'll give you an MC40N0, and it's only valid for those companies that have attended this. And then we charge you the $5 a month for the license. So our return is just the $5 a month. It's going to take us quite a while to pay back the $400 or $500 that this costs. So if anybody has any questions, we're pretty much covered what I wanted to cover and show you, and I hope we did that. If anybody has any questions or that we didn't cover, or you want any, why don't you unmute and ask a question, and then I'll try to answer that.
Hey, Gordon, this is Joe. As long as the image of the actual SKU number is in StoneEdge, it will pull that image out onto the gun. Is that correct?
Good question. Good question. I have to let you know how to do that. So the sound, all you have to do is to turn the sound on and off, like I showed you, right? So to do sound, those are already embedded. Those are already embedded in the application. So if I go in here, I deleted the application, but I didn't move it to this front screen. So I reinstalled it. You tap on this, hold it, and then you drag it and drop it on the screen, and now it'll be on the top screen. So the new features that I showed you, to do the sound, you tap here and go into settings. So you have to enable, because this is a newly installed APK, those settings aren't set. So now I have to enable voice, and I have to enable the image pop-up. So once I do that, they're both enabled, and now I can exit this. All right, so that's the first thing you have to do, Joe. The second thing is you go into your StoneEdge database, and in the StoneEdge database, we now have in the inventory table, is it the inventory table? No, in the database, in your database, we now have a table that we've added called RF SKU images. So the way that you get images to pop up is you have to go in here and you enter the SKU, and then you put in the URL of where the SKU is. So all of the images that I showed you, I borrowed from our customer scrapbook.com, which they're our biggest customer, by the way, and they've been using this for a couple years now. I have their permission, by the way, to use that and use the images. So you put in the SKU and then the image URL. So what it'll do is it'll come to this, the program will come to this table, and it will look up this SKU and find this URL, and it will go and find that URL and pull the image from that and pop that up on the screen. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Gordon.
Okay, so that's all in your control. All right, let me.
Hey, Gordon, this is Russell. Can you remind me the one-time cost to upgrade our server to Android compatibility?
Okay, so yeah, good question. So normally we were going to charge $400, but for the companies that joined this seminar and participated, we're going to waive that fee. It's going to be free.
Okay.
So you won't. So what'll happen is we will install the RF server. We'll install the Android connector on the RF server, so it runs side by side to what you're currently doing, and we're going to do that for free. The second thing that we're offering is one scanner for free if you buy one license, and the license will be just add $5 a month to your current price. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. What's the expiration on that deal for the people that joined the call? I have to talk to the boss.
Yeah, it'll probably, it won't. I don't think there's an expiration. Maybe we should set an expiration to create a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
But it's only for InWild. You guys are a great customer. So, we'll probably say 3 months. Let's give a 3 month.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just want to talk to the president, which I'll be doing after this call.
So really there won't be, there's no cost except $5 a month per scanner or per license that you convert.
Okay.
So we're giving you the Android connector for free. We're giving you a scanner for free, an MC40N0 for free, and we'll just charge you $5 a month per for that one license that you upgrade. Now, if you want to do additional licenses, you can still do them for $5 a month, up to the number that you currently have of the old Windows CE licenses. So if you have 8, you can do 8 at $5.
Okay, that's great.
Cool.
Anybody else have a question? Yeah, so if you're going to stick with us for the future, then it's obvious writing on the wall is that those Windows CE devices, whether they're Motorola or Datalogic, and I don't have control over that. Unfortunately, I wish I did. They're going to become obsolete, and so as they, of course, you have the option to not do anything. That's always an option, to not do anything and keep going. But my fear is that we're going to get down the road and they're going to start breaking, and people are going to call me in a panic. And we've got close to 100 customers, and we'll have a wave of people trying to get in. As I said, I turned 71, and I'm trying to put less time in than I have in the past, and so availability, is an issue, and that kind of thing. So quicker the better.
So Gordon, you said that the first one is for the $5. Now, if we upgrade the other, like say we have 8 licenses right now, would there be any additional charge other than the $5 per upgrade for each one?
Just the cost of the hardware.
Okay.
So we're not going to charge you any more than the $5. So in the case of LubeTech, for example, I think you guys are opening up a new warehouse, and so those will be new licenses, right? Because you're not gonna disable any of the licenses in your old warehouse, I think.
No, we're still going to be using those. I just was trying to see how much it would cost to upgrade all 8 of them if we like the way the one does.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, so there won't. So it'll just be $5 a month for each one of those 8.
Okay.
And that's a pretty good deal, I think. All right. Any other questions? Well, send me any emails, and if you could comment on just basically how you felt like this went. Did it answer all your questions? Did we cover everything? Was I convincing in showing you the benefits of the Android over the Windows CE device? We also have some other things that are in the works that I probably shouldn't reveal at this time. Some other bells and whistles, because we're moving to Android. There's other things it can do that we're still we're still looking at. And anyway, so let me know. Drop me an email if you have any questions or any comments or any suggestions. I'd appreciate that. If there's no other questions or no other comments, I think we'll draw this to a close. And I appreciate everybody's business. We appreciate your company and giving us the business and trusting in us to do what we do. We look forward to working with you in the future and hope that we can continue to improve and give you a better product that will help you do your business more effectively and efficiently. So thanks.
Thanks, Gordon.
Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.